Well, hi there. Welcome to the workshop. This is Chess-Based Workshop. I'm your host, Steve Lopez, and what you're looking at right here is the brand new Fritz12. So new that the shrink wrap is still crinkling in the trash can even as we speak. This is really an attractive program, has been completely redesigned and has been redesigned with the idea of making it much easier to use. A lot of the old sub-menus you used to have to drill down through, a lot of those have been done away with. There's still a few, but not very many anymore, and it does make a more efficient use of space. And that's what we're going to talk about in this week's Chess-Based Workshop. We're going to talk about the new menu system and how to find things in it, including 2 or 3 of the most commonly asked questions that hit my email box, or back when I did phone support, the things I was always called about. How do I do such and such? I'm going to show you how to find those very commonly used commands in the new interface for Fritz12. Up here we have the title bar of the program, just like Windows since time immemorial has used. Some brainy mug somewhere along the line figured out that up here you have 3 buttons in a corner and a title and not much else. So somebody figured out that you could put little buttons over here in this corner and get to some very frequently used items. It's called the Quick Access Toolbar, as you can see in the mouse over text right here. And what it is, it's 4 buttons, unless you change it of course. It's 4 buttons that give you very commonly used commands. You can save a game, print a game, you can undo the last action, usually take back a move with it. This one says rotate the chessboard. It used to be called flip board, and one of my all-time favorite tech support phone calls involved a fellow who couldn't understand why when he activated that command it just turned the board around instead of resigning the game. And all I could think of was, if flipping a board is your normal method of resignation, we're going to use your chessboard from now on instead of using my set. This little button right here gives you some more options. You can add some additional buttons to the Quick Access Toolbar for some more frequently used commands. So that's what that does. Right next to it you see a button here in the corner. This isn't just an attractive little green decorative button, it's actually a menu. If you click on it, it will bring up very much an old style menu, the kind of thing that you're used to seeing in previous versions of the program, where and this is one of the few places where you're going to see sub-menus. If you go to a command, you will see additional commands for some other functions. The reason why I want to point this out to you is if you go to activation and then down here update program, that is one of the most commonly asked questions. How do I update my Fritz? How do I get the latest and greatest tweaks and fixes to the program? This is where you go to get that. You click on the green button up here in the corner, go down to activation and go to update program, click on that and just follow the prompts and you will update your program. Everybody asked how to find it. Used to have to go to the Play Chess server, log in, go to the help menu, and click query upgrade. Now you do it just directly right in the screen of the program. You just go right to it in this manner. Your other menus have been redesigned with lots of buttons. Instead of just long lists of commands as you've been seeing for 15 years in Windows, what we have is some really cool buttons at the top of the screen in the menu, where you can go to your most frequently used commands just by going to buttons. If you go to home, you've got clipboard, you've got your game stuff. You can force the engine to move now. You can take back a move, cancel a move, stop the clocks. Your various levels can be accessed pretty quickly right here. For example, if you want to set time controls for a long game, you click on it and there's your menu for doing that. Same thing with Blitz game. Click on Blitz game, there's your menu. This is one of the places though where you will see some sub-menus. I'll show you the way to know if there's a sub-menu when you click on a button is it'll have a little black arrow right there. They're very small, but right here below the word levels you can see it. And if you click on that, it does give you some other commands. The same thing with new game. Click on that, it will give you some commands here. Another very frequently asked question: how do I set up a position in Fritz? Go to home, new game, click on that little button, click position setup, and there's your dialog for setting up a particular position within the program. You've got all of your most commonly used functions are in these menus. Insert deals mostly with annotation functions. Board gives you various options for changing the way the board looks on the screen. There's flip board. They call it flip board here instead of rotate the chessboard. Same command though. Click on that and you flip the board around. Board 2D gives you different functions for changing the way the chessboard looks, changing the colors of the squares, color and design of the pieces. Table, which is the background over here, I've chosen a dark wood for behind the chessboard. 3D board commands are here, clock commands are here, and if you've got a DGT sensory board, this is where you get to the functions for that DGT board. Training. Of course, if you've been following along with Fritz the last several versions, we have all kinds of training functions that have been added to the program. You can get to them right here. Opening training, endgame training, check training, etc. Calculation training, one of the newer ones. Also, if you want to play practice games in handicap mode, sparring, and friend mode, you get to it in the training menu, as well as clicking on rated game. You click on that and you get your dialogue for playing rated games against Fritz. Analysis gives you a box here with all of the different commands for having Fritz analyze games. You can also control the opening book. Various features of the opening book are accessible through this part of the menus. Engine, exactly what it says, and this is where you have another big question everybody asked. I want to make moves in Fritz without the engine responding. I want to make a move and not have the program play a move back. How do I do that? Go to the engine menu. There's a check box for switch off engine. If you put a check into it, you can make a move and Fritz will not respond. Fritz will not make a move, so you can take a sequence of moves out of a chess book or magazine, whatever, and make it on the screen, and that's how you do it. By the way, if you click it again, you'll see the engine down here come to life. Fritz will start thinking, start calculating. We'll just stop it right now, though, and move along to one of my favorite parts of the program, which is the view menu. You can control the panes, the various displays on the board, very easily through the view menu. The reason why I like this setup better than the old one is because I always had trouble when I clicked on the menu and went to panes and went over to the sub menu. For some reason, when I moved to the right, I always overshot, and that whole thing would disappear, and I'd have to go back to the menu and pull it down and go through it all again. This way I can click view, move the mouse all over the screen as I'm doing now, and all this stays right here. It's just check boxes that you can control your different displays. For example, if you don't want to show the clock, you uncheck clock window, and it's gone. The clock disappears. Checking it brings it back. Also, by the way, if you want to make a pane go away, there's a little close button right here. You can click on that X and take it away as well. So this is a pretty cool little setup here. If I want to have Fritz analyze a position and I want to give the engine pane a little more room, I can just take away the measurements either by clicking that X or by going up here and unchecking the box, and now the engine pane is a bit bigger and I can read a little more of the analysis. So this is where you control a lot of your displays on the screen. You've got standard layouts, pre-programmed layouts for Fritz. If you want big notation, you click on it and you have a completely different setup. If you decide you don't like it, assuming that you have previously created a setup that you do like and saved it, you can go back and load your old setup, which I will do now, and we go back to just the way it was after a couple of moments. And you have different arrangements for the main windows. For example, you can open up a database window. It'll be a separate window, and you can change the arrangement of the two windows using these commands. I only have one window open right now, which is why these are in halftone. You have buttons here for changing the visual style of the program. It's very similar to the standard layouts, but what it does is just change the colors of the chessboard in the background behind it. And of course, the little button for help. If you want some help with the program, a lot of your documentation's in the help files. You can click on that button, or you can just hit F1 on your keyboard, and there is your help file that pops up. So that's a real quick tour of how this program is set up. Fritz12, new and improved, with some really nice, very visual menus to help you find just the command you're looking for. And starting with the next chess-based workshop, we're going to start looking at some of those new commands and new features of the software. Until then, have fun.